It's March 28th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with the wildfires here in South Korea. Efforts to put out the wildfires that have engulfed the southeastern regions have continued for over a week now, with the small amount of rain on Thursday having done little to tame the blaze. At least 28 people are dead due to the fire. South Korea is still anxiously waiting for the Constitutional Court to publicize a ruling date for President Yoon's impeachment. With no announcement yet as of the last Friday in March, the ruling is likely to happen in April. Canada says it'll hit back at the U.S. with its own trade actions in response to President Donald Trump's 25% auto tariffs announced on Wednesday, with a warning that relations with the U.S. are over. Our top story this morning, the wildfires in the southern Gyeongsang-do provinces are still burning, with reports now indicating this could be the worst wildfire disaster on record. We turn to our Kim Jung-sil on the line. Jung-sil, can you give us a breakdown of the situation? I mean, how severe is the damage at this point?
Well, thanks, Nami. It's devastating. Wildfires that began simultaneously from last weekend have already claimed dozens of lives. As of this morning, the confirmed death toll stands at 28, with at least 37 others injured. The latest confirmed death was reported yesterday afternoon in Cheongseong-gun County, Gyeongsang-buk-do Province, where an 80-year-old woman who had been missing was found dead in a collapsed house caused by the fire. Many of the victims were elderly, aged between 60 and 80. Unfortunately, these individuals either couldn't escape the rapidly spreading flames in time or died while attempting to evacuate from their homes or nursing homes in cars. The Korea Forest Service said just about an hour ago that it is aiming to completely extinguish the main fire in 6 cities and counties in Gyeongsang-buk-do region within the day. Minister Im Sang-sop stated that more than 45,000 hectares are affected by the wildfire. The astounding number is equivalent to an area larger than 70% of Seoul, making it potentially the largest wildfire disaster in the country's history. Over 2,600 structures, including homes, temples, and cultural heritage sites, have been reportedly damaged, and around 37,000 people have been evacuated, with more than 8,000 still taking shelter.
Jung-sil, that is truly devastating. Now, let's shift our focus to the firefighting efforts. I'm afraid to say the rainfall in the area last night didn't do much in containing the fire, right?
Well, Tommy, you're definitely right. Some rain did fall, and obviously it was a blessing for the firefighters, but it wasn't enough to contain the fires fully. Now, take a look at this map. Uiseong and neighboring regions where the fires spread with the prevailing winds, along with Sancheong-gun in Gyeongsang-namdo province in the south, are still battling the flames. Now, the average containment rate of the Uiseong wildfire is around 85%, with Uiseong itself at 95%. Officials are aiming for full extinguishment by the end of the day. It's a crucial moment with progress made overnight, and authorities hopeful for full containment due to calmer winds and yesterday's rain. Now, due to the severity of the damage, the government has recently designated these affected areas as special designated, disaster zones. This designation ensures that significant resources will be allocated for relief and recovery efforts. Now, let's look at the areas where fires have been fully contained. As you can see in the map, thanks to yesterday's much-needed rain, large fires in Ulsan, Muju, as well as Gimhae and Okcheon were successfully put out as of late last night. Thanks to yesterday's humidity and progress in containment efforts, this could mark a critical window to fully control the fires, with authorities focused on achieving complete containment by the end of the day. That's all I have for now. Back to you, Dami.
Indeed, Jung-sil, thank you for that update. In other news, it seems the month of March will pass without the Constitutional Court ruling on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment case. Now, the political stakes are higher than ever after opposition leader Lee Jae-myung was cleared in a criminal case, boosting his chances for a potential presidential run. Our Uiseong reports.
Suspense remains over President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment case as the Constitutional Court deliberates for more than a month. As of Friday, 31 days have passed since Yoon's final trial hearing was held, marking a record in terms of the time taken by the court compared to previous presidential impeachment cases, which took at most 14 days. As the judicial bench typically gives advance notice of at least 2 working days before a ruling, the court is now expected to issue its decision in April before 2 justices retire mid-month. With ambiguity over the when and what the verdict will be, there's growing tension brewing in political circles as Yoon's impeachment would spark an early presidential election within 2 months. The opposition party is pushing for Yoon's swift removal, as their party leader Lee Jae-myung is currently the pollsters' favourite among presidential hopefuls. On Wednesday, Lee was acquitted in one of his 5 criminal trials, overturning a ruling by a lower court last year that handed Lee a 1-year sentence and a 2-year suspension from office for violating the election law. This cleared a major hurdle to gaining his party's full endorsement for the race. The ruling People Power Party had been hoping for the opposite result, leading to cries of foul against the justice system. There's now even greater pressure directed at the Constitutional Court. The opposition is calling for Yoon's immediate impeachment, while the ruling party is demanding his return to power, as in the case of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, whose impeachment case was dismissed on Monday. Public rallies also continue outside and around the court. Recent polls indicate that 51% of voters want a change of government, while 37% wish to maintain the current administration. Those for and against impeachment also recorded around 58% and 37% respectively, underscoring how closely contested the political environment remains. The survey shows equal 36% support for the ruling and opposition parties, with the PPP gaining 3 percentage points compared to the previous week. As the court's ruling stretches on, expectations for Yoon's impeachment was down by 6 percentage points from last week, while those expecting his return hit 39%.
Amid prolonged uncertainty, one thing remains clear. This will not merely be a constitutional decision, but a ruling that inevitably brings significant political ramifications. Uiseong, Arirang News.
So time is ticking for the court to make its final call on President Yoon as the nation's leader. And as reported by our Uiseong, the big day will likely come in April. Let's turn to Professor Baek Eun-suk for more. Great to see you, Professor Baek.
Good morning to you.
So we are running out of our patience, or maybe we learned to be patient through this difficult time. It's still possible the court will publicize a date today, right?
Yes, it is still possible, but I must say it is not highly likely. As the reporter mentioned earlier, in the past, the court announced the ruling date at least 2 or 3 days in advance. And if the court wants to issue its ruling early next week, it could announce the date today. However, today being Friday and the weekend coming up, if the date is announced today, I think there will be a greater risk of a leak over the weekend. And a leaked court ruling after several weeks of already unexpected delay will be quite damaging to the court. And in addition, the pro-impeachment and anti-impeachment rallies and protests would also intensify over the weekend. And so I think the court is not likely to announce the date today. But the bottom line, of course, is very clear. The sooner the ruling comes, the better for the country.
Well, if you are right here, Professor Baek, that means we have to wait until next week for the court to announce the ruling date. Now, if I am correct, a by-election set for April 2nd, which is next Wednesday.
Right.
Now, some say the verdict may come on Thursday or Friday after the by-elections on Wednesday. What do you think?
Right. The court's ruling in the president's impeachment case has huge political ramifications. And that could affect the by-election results. So just as a matter of prudence, the court may not want to issue a ruling before the by-elections. And so election is on Wednesday, April 2nd. So if we take that into account, and as a matter of prudence, once again, then maybe after the by-election, so Thursday, Friday at the earliest.
Well, ruling date still in limbo, but what's widely expected is that things will wrap up before April 18th. That's when 2 of the 8 court justices retire. I have to ask you, what happens if the 2 justices retire before the final verdict is delivered?
I really do hope that doesn't happen. That would make the situation already very complicated situation even more. I guess the exact impact of their retirement may depend on what is the current situation of the court. If you have essentially consensus more or less of all members, then 2 retiring and then the ruling comes afterwards wouldn't be much of a difference. But then, given the fact that the court has taken a lot longer time than anybody expected, which may indicate within the court there is no clear consensus, in which case 2 retiring, again, that would make a further delay in the ruling all the more possible. So once again, I do hope that doesn't happen. And I'm sure the court will try its best to issue its ruling before 2 justices retire on the April 18th.
Well, on top of that, we cannot not talk about how Prime Minister Han Duck-soo is under this great pressure to appoint a justice nominee, Ma Eun-hyuk, ever since he returned to office. It looks like he is not going to appoint Ma, but will Yoon's impeachment ruling be delayed if Ma is appointed by Han?
Right, just to follow up on the earlier question, if 2 current members retire, then we would have only 6 members.
Right.
Theoretically, if all 6 members agree and if there is a consensus, then it's possible to issue a ruling with 6 members. But again, given this long delay that we've seen, that may not be the case. Then 2 retiring, and then you would not even have enough number of justices to issue a ruling in this case. And if additional member is appointed, again, depending on what the current situation of the court right now may be, but still additional member may require at least some part of the hearings to be in one way or another to be repeated, so that the newest member will be fully aware of the legal issues and the arguments from both sides that have been offered during the hearings. And so I think it's inevitable that the appointment of this new member would become a reason for further delay in the process.
Well, I'd like to hear your personal take on it. Now, if Han does appoint Ma, eventually, when do you think he will appoint him? After the ruling for President Yoon?
Let me answer the question this way. I think the Constitutional Court addressed the matter not once but twice. The first time when the National Assembly asked the court to rule on it, the court made it very clear that it was a constitutional violation for then acting President Choi Sang-mok not to appoint Ma. So court made it very clear the first time. And as a part of its ruling in Prime Minister Han's impeachment case, the justices basically said that he's not appointing the new members to the Constitutional Court did actually violate the Constitution, but that violation was not serious enough for impeachment. So I think on 2 occasions, the court made it very clear that it is a constitutional violation for Ma not to have been appointed. So I think he has to be appointed at some point.
All right. Thank you for your insightful comments this morning, Professor Beck. As always, you have a good day.
The same to you. Thank you.
Countries around the world are quickly mapping out their own plans to cope with Trump's 25% auto tariffs. Canada warns it'll respond with reciprocal tariffs. Uiseong has more.
Earlier this week, President Donald Trump signed off on 25% tariffs on all cars and auto parts imported into the United States. In response, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney called it a direct attack on his country and vowed to respond to Trump's latest tariff policy.
President Trump announced 25% tariffs against our auto industry. And this is a direct attack, to be clear, a direct attack on the very workers that I stood in front of, uniform workers. We've announced, of course, retaliatory tariffs. We have other options for those retaliatory tariffs. I have asked for a meeting, I will convene rather, a meeting of the Canada-US cabinet tomorrow to discuss our trade options.
Carney said Canada's longtime bilateral relationship with the U.S. involving the economy, security, and military cooperation is over. Instead, he vowed Canada would respond with retaliatory tariffs that will have maximum impact on the U.S. On the other side of the U.S. border, Mexico is negotiating for an exemption for its critical auto industry. Speaking from Washington after holding talks with U.S. officials, Mexico's economy minister Marcelo Ebrard said negotiation talks are ongoing to ensure that Mexico gets preferential treatment. The minister said that with the recent tariff policies of the U.S. administration, Mexico must protect jobs and economic activity in the country. While Mexico is seeking a more peaceful approach to Trump's tariff policies, both Canada and the European Union have been looking to fight the U.S. president's tariffs. In response, Trump took to his social media platform Truth Social on Thursday and said that larger tariffs could be placed on the EU and Canada if they work jointly to do economic harm to the USA. While the EU delayed its first set of retaliatory tariffs, including a 50% tariff on U.S. bourbon, Trump threatened to impose a 200% tariff on all wines and other alcoholic products from the EU if the bloc went ahead with tariffs. Uiseong, Arirang News.
Today marks the 10th West Sea Defense Day, a day remembering the heroes lost during military clashes near the de facto inter-Korean military maritime border in the West Sea. South Korea's Navy held intensive drills this week to honor the day. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung was there.
Amidst the thin sea fog covering the West Sea, a simulated North Korean vessel crosses the northern limit line on the West Sea, moving southward. South Korean Navy ships and personnel are ordered to deploy in combat formation for training.
전투 배치, 훈련, 둘, 셋!
6 naval ships lined up one after another with the 3,600-ton frigate, the RKS Chungnam, at the front, fired guns targeting their simulated maritime target before maneuvering away in different directions. This naval maneuver training in the West Sea is to mark the 10th West Sea Defense Day, a day to remember those who lost their lives in a series of unprovoked attacks by the North near the northern limit line. The day, falling on the fourth Friday of March every year, pays tribute to the 55 fallen sailors and Marines from the Second Battle of Yeonpyeong in 2002, the sinking of RKS Cheonan, and the shelling of Yeonpyeong-do Island in 2010. In memorial of the fallen, the Navy conducted intensive maneuvering exercises for 3 days until Thursday, simultaneously on the East, West, and South Seas, with some of the exercises open to the press.
The Navy will engrave the spirit of victory shown by the 55 warriors who defended the West Sea in our hearts. And if the enemy provokes again, we will strike back forcefully and firmly protect our seas.
Since the military clashes with North Korea while defending the western maritime border, the South Korean Navy strengthened the combat power of its naval fleets, replacing outdated warships with new frigates equipped with advanced hybrid propulsion and sonar systems.
The ROKS Daejeon was built with our domestic defense technology, and it's especially a core frigate of the fleet with outstanding anti-submarine capabilities.
With the patriotic spirit of the fallen in mind, The Navy vows to firmly safeguard the waters even today. Imbogyang, Arirang News.
Nearly 4,800 outbound international flights will be operated per week at domestic airports this summer, exceeding pre-COVID levels. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport announced on Friday that it has finalized the summer flight operation schedule as requested by domestic and foreign airlines. From March 30th to October 25th, 4,783 outbound international flights will operate per week on 246 routes. This marks a 5.6% increase from the summer of 2024. It also marks a 3.6% increase from 2019 before the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Good morning, I'm Choi Ji-hee, and this is The World Now. The U.S. government has intensified its crackdown on foreign students involved in anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian activities, leading to the revocation of visas and the detention of students. On Thursday local time, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that the State Department has revoked the visas of over 300 foreign students. The action is part of the Trump administration's broader initiative to identify and expel individuals who are believed to be supportive of Hamas. Rubio told reporters on a visit to Guyana, "Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visas." Among those affected is Rümeysa Öztürk, a 30-year-old Turkish national and PhD student at Tufts University who was apprehended on Tuesday. The Department of Homeland Security alleges that Öztürk engaged in activities supporting Hamas, though specific evidence has not been disclosed. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said U.S. President Donald Trump's renewed interest in acquiring Greenland was serious. At the International Arctic Forum in Murmansk on Thursday, Putin stated the U.S. had a long-standing interest in the mineral-rich territory. He said that while the Greenland issue does not directly involve Russia, the U.S. plans have hold historical origins and aren't just extravagant talks. Meanwhile, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has reiterated that Greenland is not for sale and reaffirmed Denmark's commitment to supporting Greenland's autonomy. Also referring to U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance's planned visit to the U.S. military base in Greenland, she stated the visit is clearly not about what Greenland needs or wants. Over in Egypt, 6 Russian tourists died on Thursday when a sightseeing submarine sank off the coast of the city of Hurghada. Others have been successfully saved, with some sustaining injuries. The vessel named Sinbad was carrying 45 tourists from various countries, including India and Sweden, along with 5 Egyptian crew members. The incident occurred approximately 1,000 meters offshore during a routine underwater tour of the Red Sea's coral reefs, where the recreational submarine dived to depths of 20 to 25 meters to showcase the marine life. The cause of the sinking is still under investigation. Finally, Art Basel Hong Kong 2025 opened to the public on Friday at the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center, featuring 240 galleries from 42 countries. An off-site art installation has also been created at a high-end shopping center near the official show venue. The fair showcases a diverse range of artistic practices, including performance and digital art, with over half of the participating galleries originating from the Asia-Pacific region. Art Basel 2025, the largest and most prestigious event in the Asia-Pacific region, will run from March 28th to 30th.
We did get some rain, but it was not nearly enough to ease the dry conditions, especially across the Gyeongsangdo region, where dry weather alerts remain in place. And today's strong winds will be another big concern. Places like Chungcheong-namdo's west coast, the Jeollado region, and Jeju are already under strong wind advisories. Meanwhile, we do have some rain falling along the east coast and Jeju this morning, with up to 5 millimeters of rain in the forecast and snow snow in the mountains of Gangwon-do province. It's feeling much colder today. Afternoon highs will be 2 to 15 degrees lower this afternoon. Spring cold is here to stay through the weekend. But this afternoon, Seoul gets up to 12 degrees. Daegu and Busan make it to 15 degrees Celsius under sunny skies with improved air quality in most parts. After some spotty rain in the capital and Gangwon-do province tomorrow, it's back to dry and sunny conditions for the time being. And with these dry and windy conditions, the fire risk remains very high, so please be extra cautious with any open flames.
That wraps up our Friday edition of Arirang News. A new day at Arirang will be back next Monday at the same time, 10 a.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.
How to survive in Korea. Weddings. Step 0. Attire. As a guest, dress formal to business casual. Avoid wearing all white, shorts or going topless. Step 1. Arrival time. Arrive 30 minutes prior to the wedding ceremony. Too many cars, too many halls, too many people. There are many twists and turns. Take pictures and shake hands. And write your name vertically, not horizontally, in the guest book. Step 2. Or, shibor. 50,000 won, 100,000 won, 150,000 won. Cash gifts are given in these units. Decide on the amount based on your relationship. Write your name vertically on the envelope. Step 3. Wedding etiquette. Fill up the front row. Guests have 3 duties to fulfill: clapping, cheering, and taking pictures. Step 4. Dining. Take off your jacket. This will be your seat from now on. Start with the not your everyday delicacies. Galbijjim. Yes. Bosa. Yes. Chili shrimps. Definitely yes. Kimbap. Yeah. Only if you can't live without it. No need to pile up food. You have more than one opportunity. Did you survive the wedding? Wait, did someone catch your eye? What are you waiting for? You're looking fine today.
Your gateway to Korea, Simply K-pop. Hello, I'm your Simply K-pop MC Taewi of AB6. 반갑습니다.
And hello everyone, I'm here again as your Simply K-pop special MC, Alicia of Eunice.
Get up, stand up, it all now, let go on. Everybody looking at me, let go. 그냥 부딪혀봐, 비약지, let go. 여전히 설렘으로 벅차니까. 끝이 없는 우리의 내일을 약속할게. Been waiting too long. Baby, we're growing up lately. 맘이 일렁여 멀리. 발을 대고서 날아 keep on, keep on, keep on. 내게 들켜버릴까 봐 조금만 내 맘을 네가 아는지.
Then this week Simply K-pop,
Gateway to Korea.
don't miss out.
We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, March 28th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and thanks for starting your day with News Generation. Joining us today is Bin.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Prince.
Hello, happy to join you.
Happy Friday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So, every Friday, we wrap up the week by diving into hot topics that excite young people worldwide. And one area that never fails to capture our attention is technology, because after all, our generation is known for being tech savvy. So, here on News Gen, we've been keeping you updated on the latest Galaxy S series whenever a new model hits the market, and this year is no exception. So today we're zooming in on the flagship phone of the moment, which is the Galaxy S25. And these days, if a new gadget hits the market, chances are it comes packed with artificial intelligence. So I want to ask you, Brooke, just how deeply has AI woven itself into our daily lives?
Oh, it's become a vital part of our lives, I think. I didn't used to use it before, but it just kind of just creeps on you know? It's got uses in education, healthcare, and just basic daily activities. Now, notably, IT devices are increasingly using AI features, and it's not just our smartphones and our tablets, it's also things like speakers, cameras, vacuum cleaners, and even our refrigerators.
You name it.
That's right. And we've also got these virtual powered AI assistants that help you with everything. They help you manage your schedule, set reminders, control your various smart home appliances. We've also got navigation apps that use AI to help predict the optimal routes and analyze real-time traffic, which makes driving a lot more convenient. And speaking of driving, you're probably listening to your favorite music on an app. That's a streaming service that often uses AI algorithms in order to predict and tailor playlists just for you. And other streaming services have that as well, to tailor entertainment just to your needs. Doesn't stop there. AI is also used in banking. It detects fraudulent transactions. It's also used in healthcare. My father is a doctor, and he uses AI devices in his work often. He uses it for translation purposes. It can also be used for diagnosing diseases, analyzing medical images, and predicting patient outcomes. So in summary, all of these advancements really highlight the fact that AI has become kind of seamlessly integrated into our lives, and it's made things a lot more efficient.
I think it's not an exaggeration to say that you cannot not use AI these days.
That's right. You can't avoid it.
Right, you can't avoid it. Then Bin, could you please tell us how AI is shaping smartphones?
Yes, so as the tech guy of NewsGen, I'm the official tech guy of NewsGen, for those of you who didn't know. I'm very eager to break down the new features and the AI trends in smartphones. So since the late 2010s, the smartphone market began to saturate as the technologies have been refined enough that people don't feel the need or the necessity to upgrade to the latest versions. However, starting from 2023, where AI started to get all the attention and all the spotlight, the smartphone market saw a new potential that could save them. Samsung has launched the new Galaxy S25 and definitely maxed out on the AI features, which I will explain throughout our show today. And Apple also accelerated their implementation of Apple Intelligence, which is their AI model, and was planned to be released to the public in the late 2024. But unfortunately, they announced that there will be a delay due to technical difficulties. So a lot of companies are racing to put AI models into their phones.
A lot of tech giants are indeed jumping on the bandwagon of AI, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to turn the spotlight to our main topic of the day, which is the Galaxy S25 itself. So Bin, I want to ask you, what AI-driven features are included in this latest model?
All right, well, so it's going to take me the whole day to thoroughly explain everything.
There were a lot of
there are a lot of new features, new processors and new RAMs and SSDs, but I'm gonna skip that part. I'm just gonna
He really is the tech guy.
The key points of the AI features. So the Samsung Galaxy S25 obviously includes the basic AI functions such as seamless translations and basic task assistance, but this was something that you could find in the previous predecessor S24 as well. Now on top of that, that the S25 includes the new and advanced functions such as circle to search,
Right.
which is if you circle something on a screen that you would like to know, it'll automatically search it for you. And it can also accurately search a photo from your album through a voice communication. So if you say, I'm looking for my dog, it's brown and it's small, and I'm looking for a picture that when it was a baby, and it'll, boom, give you the right pictures.
I need that for my cat.
Yeah, you don't have to find it. It's going to take like a lot of time when you do it by yourself, but AI can do that now. And recording calls into a text format as well, which can come in very handy. And an additional feature that intrigued the younger generations especially is the AI Photoshop feature. S25 is capable of editing pictures according to a given prompt, such as remove the people in the background or make my arms more muscular.
Very useful.
Yes. And not only that, it can also cut out the unwanted audio noise from videos too, such as the car noises or the background ambient noises.
Right, so a lot of breakthrough innovations have been added to the latest Galaxy S model. But beyond AI, Brooke, what are some other standout features that have users talking?
Well, a survey conducted by Samsung Electronics among Galaxy S25 series buyers revealed that the top factor influencing their purchase decision was actually performance, related to the latest processor and memory. I personally built a PC by myself for the very first time, so I feel like now I can be the tech girl. I know some of these things.
Girl.
But actually, more purchasers than I anticipated really think about these things like processors and memory when they are trying to buy a phone. And in addition to AI features, the device's slimmer and more lighter design, in addition to the competitive pricing, contributed to its popularity. Notably, the Galaxy AI Subscription Club garnered the most attention from consumers in their 20s and 30s. This program offers a 50% residual value guarantee upon device return after 1 year, along with the Samsung Care Plus smartphone damage protection plan. And around 60% of the subscription users for this plan belonged to the MZ generation, which makes sense because we're kind of the subscription generation. We really like a sub-based model, and so it really resonated well with this demographic. So thanks to these advantages, the Galaxy S25 set a new record as the fastest-selling Galaxy series device, surpassing 1 million units in just 21 days. That was 1 week faster than its predecessor, the S25. So it's doing very well, needless to say.
It seems that it is doing very, very well in the tech market. So with so many advanced features being introduced, which Wonbin and Brooke both introduced, it's no wonder that choosing a new phone has become a real dilemma for many. So we asked our viewers, what's your top priority when buying a smartphone? So the three options in our Arirang News YouTube poll were design, price, and AI features. And among the three options, 71% prioritized price, followed by design with 19%, and then AI features with 10%. But I want to mention that the price of the two biggest phone giants, which is Samsung and Apple, they are kind of, I think they're all pricey. Consumers are feeling that
the flagship phones are very expensive.
Right, they are. So they are both expensive. So once again, in the Apple-Samsung debate, it's getting fiercer. And with the Galaxy S25 now stepping up its game with its mind-blowing AI features, it's making the decision between iPhones and Galaxies even tougher for consumers. So I want to ask you, have you used both, and which side do you stand on?
Well, so this topic, this debate of iPhone versus Galaxy, it's not only a hot potato in Korea, but globally as well. When I was in Canada, we were having the same conversation with everyone. And in fact, both companies actually have a very loyal user base.
They do.
So if people who are using iPhone is very likely to get the next iPhone, and people who are using Galaxy are also very likely to change to a newer Galaxy. However, it seems like the Samsung's new flashy AI features are making the iPhone users to think twice about their next smartphone decision. To give further explanation, let's take a look at the stats. According to Cell, a global used phone marketplace, 17% of iPhone users answered that they're willing to change to Galaxy for a better AI feature, while only 10% of Galaxy users answer that they will change to iPhone. And personally, I used both Galaxy and iPhone, and to answer your first question, they definitely do have pros and cons. For viewers who are not familiar with both ecosystems, in a nutshell, Galaxy offers you the latest tech-savviest features, and iPhone gives you a more of a refined and an optimized experience with the existing technologies. When using Galaxy, I really enjoyed its new features and functions that the iPhones didn't have. For example, the super fast charging, we can charge up to 45 watts, which is planned to go up to 60, and it'll allow your phone to charge up to 50% in like 10 minutes. So it's really super charging.
You sound like a tech expert.
I know.
Yeah.
I would buy a phone from Wonbin. I really would.
Also, there's the 10x optical zoom that Galaxy phones provide. It also has a 100 times hybrid optical zoom, but I'm not going to talk about that today. I think it's a little bit too much. But yeah, however, there are many tech advantages that you can yield from having a Galaxy. However, right now I'm using iPhone at the moment because I use a lot of tech devices like iPads and MacBooks, and the compatibility that the Apple ecosystem has definitely boosts my work efficiency and productivity a lot. So I did use both, and I really appreciate the pros of Galaxy. However, right now, I'm using an iPhone.
So to sum it up, if you want a compatible ecosystem, you would prefer an iPhone more, and if you want to try out the latest tech trends, that will be Galaxy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for summarizing.
My pleasure. I hope I summed it up well.
I did kind of geek out on that, so thank you.
Then what do you think, Brooke?
Oh, well, I've always used Apple devices, but I was living in Korea and I figured, this is the land of Samsung. This is the land of Android. I might as well just try it. So a few years ago, I did, and I got teased by my family and friends because my messages turned green, right? That's always the debate when you use Android versus iPhone. But I really enjoy going to concerts. So speaking of the optical zoom, I noticed that using an Android device, oh my gosh, my videos and my pictures were so crisp and
great
so
for
HD.
Sports and
yes,
K-pop
going to
fans.
Performances and things like that. I loved that. And I also enjoyed the customization of kind of the look and the aesthetic, whereas iPhone is more of a uniform experience. But I have to say, I am a creature of habit, and I eventually went back to the comfort of the Apple ecosystem. Like Wonbin said, it really boosts your work productivity and efficiency because the AirDrop feature really allows you to just effortlessly share between devices. So I am now an iPhone user once again, but I had a great experience, and I really definitely see the merits of the Samsung series devices and all Androids in general. They are very solid devices.
Yeah, I think that both brands do have a lot to offer to users. So once again, it's a really tough choice. So now for a global perspective, I spoke with a marketing expert for insights on how the Galaxy S25 is performing in international markets. We'll be back after the interview.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Yeah, I think the Galaxy S25 is very popular among the younger consumers. I've read some articles mentioning that in South Korea, it became the fastest selling Galaxy model, surpassing 1 million units in domestic sales within just 21 days of its launch. And also that approximately 60% of the subscribers to Samsung's Galaxy S25 subscription model are in their 20s or 30s. And additionally, in India, I saw that the series received over 430,000 pre-orders, which is a 20% increase from the S24 series. And I think that indicates a robust demand for the S25 series. Like looking at the reviews from various tech reviewers, I think influencers such as Marcus Brownlee or Mr. Who's the Boss, who are very famous for tech reviews, especially phone reviews, they all say that the phone is really gorgeous and it feels great to use. However, there is a slight nuance, they all feel that the S25 series is just a more refined and polished version of the S24, which is not a bad thing in itself. Is why make something a drastic change when it's working? The S24 was such a resounding success. And I think for the S25 series, everything is kind of the same as the S24, but just a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner, and a little bit smoother. And there's nothing groundbreaking, but it just works so well. A lot of the changes actually didn't come from the hardware, but on the software updates. So I think this is what Samsung has been doing really well. And all of the new updates that is coming to the S25 are also going to be normally updated on the S24 and the other models. So I think overall, this is just a revamp of the software that Samsung has been prioritizing. Nothing really changed regarding the hardware except the chip, the new chip that they're using. But at some point, we are hitting the limit where we cannot really perceive the changes in speed, etc. Just for the normal consumers, we don't push the hardware, the device to the extreme. So for us, it's just how it feels to use in a daily life. I think moving forward, it will come down to how useful the AI will be. Because all the companies nowadays, they're all featuring new AI features, new AI integration to make everything smoother and easier for the consumers. But at the end of the day, there are only a very limited amount of AI features that actually works. Like, for example, 3 of the main ones that really works well for the S25 is the AI Select, the Gemini integration that feels a lot smarter than the Google Assistant, and the Object Eraser. But if we look at the other AI features that they integrated into the S25, a lot of them are working but not really useful, so to say. So I think moving forward, the company that manages to offer more helpful AI will win the consumers over. And I would say that Samsung is definitely close to attaining this. They have the AI features, now they just need to work. I would say like we have different types of consumers. There are consumers that really like the games, so they want things that are optimized for the games. And there are more and more consumers that are more video or content focused. So for these people, like the object eraser or the video editing or the audio remover, etc., those are features that normally we have to use an external tool to do, but now we can do it directly on the phone. So those, I think, those could be some reasons why the S25 was so appealing to the younger generation, because it already has all of these content creation related features integrated in the phone itself.
All right, so we're back after an interview. So ending off our episode today, we know that tech evolves at lightning speed. So what's cutting edge today could be obsolete tomorrow. So looking ahead, how do you think smartphones will evolve in the coming years? I mean, smartphones are getting smarter every year.
That's right. Yeah,
what do you think?
They're becoming very smart smartphones, and I can't wait for the day it becomes my very own Jarvis. Like, I look forward to the day when it can talk like a real human.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, and no unnaturalness whatsoever. I grew up watching Jarvis from Iron Man again, and you guys might not know, but Tars and Case from the movie Interstellar, yeah, they're like these cube moving robots, but they talk like real human as well. And I want to comfortably order them to like send a message to someone or send an email without worrying that it'll send it with the wrong wording or the nuance. And I also want to get like a weather brief in a cool way, like the movies. Yeah, and
I can just see Wanbin going like this on screen.
Yeah, and will this happen very soon or anytime soon? I doubt it, but once the AI's experimental phase is over, its exponential growth will definitely make a lot of sci-fi movies into reality, and I can't wait for that. I really look forward to that day.
Right, because the speed that technology evolves, it's mind-blowing, so that might happen in the future.
Yeah, maybe closer than we think.
Yeah.
Maybe. What do you expect, Brooke?
Yeah, you know, it's funny, the things we sort of fantasize about in the future that seem impossible.
They always come.
They always come
to reality.
True, right? When we look back at technology in movies in the 90s or the 2000s, for example, we kind of giggle because it looks so bulky, but back then it was seen as so advanced.
Yeah.
And I think decades from now it's going to be the same thing. They're going to look back at these devices and say, what were they using? What were they thinking? You know, I think everything's going to get smarter. AI features are going to get even better. They're already so good at predicting our behaviors and our needs, but I think we're going to get even more personalized interactions. We'll have better virtual assistants assistants as well. And we've been talking about cameras and other, phone features. AI is already making a big impact on cameras. We heard about the eraser tool, which is, I am jealous. I really want to use that. That's very cool. I think we're going to see more features like that, real-time editing suggestions. We might even see augmented reality on our phones in the future. And it's really mind-boggling to think that all of this can occur in this tiny device that you can hold in your hand. So yeah, I don't think we've even seen the half of it. I think the future really, it just holds all the possibilities.
I love the word mind-boggling. It just sums up the development of smartphones and technology. And we'll bring you the latest tech trends here on NewsGen. And that's all we have for this episode of News Generation, but we will be back next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Iwon Bin.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And Brooke Prince.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching and hope you wrap up your week well. We are
News Generation.